In this chapter, I'm going to spend a little time comparing TK8 to TK7. For TK7 users, I think it will be helpful for you to see where things are still the same and where things are different or entirely new. If you're not a TK7 user, then everything will be new, and unless you're just curious, you may want to skip this chapter and go directly to learning how all of it works. I'll begin by comparing the TK7 and TK8 CX modules. The CX modules have all the same buttons and features as the combo modules, just in a different shape, so everything applies to the combo modules as well. Many of the buttons, functions, and locations have stayed the same. Some of the buttons look different but have the same function. Other functions have changed slightly, and there are some completely new buttons and functions. For now, I'm just going to quickly be pointing out the changes. We'll look at how everything works in more detail in future chapters. You'll notice that the look of the TK8 has changed a little. This is mostly related to how Adobe's new plugin architecture operates. In this top section of the CX module, everything has remained the same for the most part. One exception is the removal of the Open button to make space for other features. Now, to open a new document, you can just use the good old method of going up to File, Open, or typing Control or Command O on your keyboard. Another exception is that some of the module settings, which you get to by clicking the TK icon in each module, some of these settings are new and different, and I'll be explaining module settings in later chapters as well. The only difference in the blue button section is the removal of the hard light blending mode in exchange for the linear light blending mode, which has proven to be more useful. The orange sections and the green sections look and function essentially the same. Some of the icons in the gray section look a little different in TK8, but they still function the same. In the purple section, the stroke, fill, and blur buttons have changed from words to icons. The Adobe Camera Raw and Content Aware Fill buttons are the same, and there's a new Free Transform button that's been added. Quite a bit has changed in the red section of buttons, which is all about selections. The Hide Show Selection Lines, Select and Mask, and Delete All Alpha Channels buttons are the same. The Deselect, Reselect, Save Selection, and Invert Selection buttons are still here, but they look different. New features include Select Subject, Select Sky, Feather Selection, Expand Selection, and Contract Selection. The Web Sharpen section has been replaced with the Triangle button. Clicking the Triangle button opens a larger Web Sharpen dialog with many new features. TK7 users will note that TK8 does not include a batch module, since much of that functionality has now been incorporated into this enhanced web sharpening dialog. But if you're a TK7 user and you want to keep using the batch module alongside the TK8 modules, you can if you want to. The new watermark button allows you to add your logo or watermark to the image. The Save for Web button now has a new icon and a new feature, which I'll explain later. The final three buttons look the same, but the TK Actions menu has some updates and a few new actions. And the Instant Action and User Actions have a new, easier way to assign your own actions to them, which I'll also be showing you. Now let's close the CX modules and compare the TK8 Multi-Mask module to the TK7 Go module, because those two are the most similar. When the Go module came out, it went a long way towards simplifying the interface of the previous Rapid Mask module. The Multi-Mask module takes simplifying the interface up another level again, while also adding powerful new features. First, the Multi-Mask module is all icons now. Until you learn what all the icons are, you can use the Tooltips rollover to read what each icon means or does. Second, instead of the 3 sections in the Go module, Mask, Modify, and Output, the Multimask module has just 2 sections. In this top section, the first 6 options are similar to the 6 source buttons in the Go module, although that 6 option has a different icon now. New features in Multimask include Edge Masks, Color Grading, Layer Mask Mode, Selection Editing, and Workflow Extras, which are additional actions inspired by other photographers. The bottom section allows you to quickly create the most commonly used Photoshop adjustment layers, such as curves or levels, without needing to go to the adjustment layer menu or going back to the Combo module or CX module to access adjustment layers. Clicking on each one of the options in the top section opens a dialog to give you controls specific to that option's function. For example, the luminosity mask dialog looks like this. The color mask dialog looks like this. The edge mask dialog looks like this. This is the layer mask mode dialog. And this is what the Workflow Extras dialog looks like. Of course, I'll be showing you how all these work later on in the chapters on the Multimask module. So I hope this has been helpful to anyone who's an experienced TK7 user. Knowing which features have stayed the same and which ones are new and improved should help you quickly transfer over and apply your TK7 knowledge to TK8.